How are you? Right, I've just been out pricing work and I've got home and I wanted to make this video quick before I go in and get washed up and have my tea and stuff. But I wanted to just, anyway, there's a few things about me that you probably don't know and I want to just tell you about them. I also want to tell you something that I find very bizarre with the building game, with the whole, not just plastering, but the whole building industry, something that's always sort of baffled me. But to get into that, and how I get to that, I'll just relay a little experience, because it's mainly because of this that I'm making this video. So the other day, I've been out to see a mate of mine, a joiner, and I've priced a job up for him. And we sat in my van and we're just talking about, you know, the pricing. And then we started talking about how we price jobs up, you know, and he's picking my brains and we're bouncing ideas off each other on how, going forward, how he can price the plastering so that when I come along to give him the price, do you understand what I'm trying to say? The builder has to cover the price of the plastering. Yeah. So we're talking about this, and then that leads to another conversation. Then we start talking about dealing with customers and salesmanship and different things that we do. And we're bouncing these ideas off each other and have a good old chat. And what was interesting, this is something that blew me away. As we're talking, young Kieran, you know, my little apprentice, like my mate, he's coming along up the side of the van. And my mate clocks him in the wing mirror. And we're just talking now about how to price jobs and different ways of doing it and different ways of dealing with customers and stuff. And whilst we're talking, he's clocked Kieran come up the side of the van. Now, Kieran's only coming to see, like, you know, if we want to mix or what time's dinner or whatever, some mad question that he asks me. And as he's coming up, my mate goes, shh, shh, shh. So what's up? He said, he is, you know. And that's a funny thing, because it's like it's a big secret how to, the whole pricing side of things. And this is what I find bizarre with the building game. You'll get fellas that teach lads how to be fantastic plasterers, joiners, bricklayers, whatever trade. They teach them the trade and make them absolute masters of the craft. But nobody is really teaching lads. I'm sure there are guys doing it, but not many are teaching them how to market themselves, how to network, how to get work in, you know, how to generate work to get it flowing to you, how to price the jobs, what they should be pricing. You know, they sort of set lads off into the wild, set them free, you know, when they've served the time. Go on, off into the world you go. But they don't tell them what they should be charging, what they're worth. And it's like there's a big secret about it, and I find it very bizarre. Now, I remember my own experience with this. See, my old fella taught me to plaster. And my dad genuinely wanted to help me as much as he possibly could. So I don't think he did it on purpose. He didn't sort of hold this knowledge back on purpose. And he did take me pricing jobs, but we never really went through step by step, like you do with the trade. You know, you do this trowel first, then you do this and this coat, and it has to be this thick. But when it comes to pricing jobs, there was none of that. It was sort of, right, you can come and watch me speak to the customers sort of thing, you know. Don't say nothing, you just stand there and listen. And that happened about 2 or 3 times. And then after that, I remember when I priced my first job, I went and looked at this bedroom, you know, I'm about 16 at the time, I can plaster, like, you know, and I'm looking at this job. And then they asked me how much. I just made a number up. I just made something up. And then I realised I've got to buy materials. Well, I'm working for about a tenner, you know. So that was my very, very first experience of pricing. I've come a long way since then, but I just find it bizarre that we don't teach lads how to network, how to market, how to sell themselves, and what to actually charge, you know. So I'll just relate what happened with me going further into the future and how I think it works out for a lot of guys. So I sort of left me dad. Don't forget, I've been plastering all through primary school, you know, not primary school, secondary school, all school holidays, weekends, I was working. And then I left school when I was 15. As if you've watched any of my other videos, you probably already know this. Left school at 15. I was one of the youngest in the year, straight at the building sites. And I could already plaster, so I just sort of tweaked myself. And I was basically good enough to go on my own then, not doing building site work when I was like 17, 18, and off I went. Now, what happened was I was on price then, and this is what I think happens with a lot of guys. The rate that you are earning when you're working for someone seems to be the value that you put on yourself. So let's just say, for instance, let's just make a random number, but let's just say I left my dad and my dad was paying me £100 a day, right? That's what I was getting, 100 quid a day. Just using a round number. What seems to happen is, and this happened to me, when I looked at jobs going forward, private jobs, you know, for customers, I go and look at a job and I think, okay, I can do that in a day. And I believe in me, I'm £100. So that's the price that you go in at, plus the materials. And that's what seems to happen with a lot of lads. Whatever you seem to be getting paid by somebody else is what you sort of continue to think you're worth going forward. But ultimately, what you've got to remember is, which I sort of learned the hard way at the time, is you take on a lot more roles when you're working for yourself. When you're not sort of being babysat by your dad looking after you, you know, or your boss sort of taking care of any problems. All of a sudden, you're in charge of, you know, advertising. You've got to do all the running round, the pricing the jobs. You've got to go and source the materials, all the cleaning up. Any problems are on you. Replacement of tools, running a vehicle. All these extra roles that you have to take on. Then, you know, you're dealing with the tax yourself and all these extra things that you've got to do. And nobody seems to be teaching people that you should be charging a bit more money now because you're taking care of all these extra things are added to you. So what I ended up doing was I left my dad and I was on the building sites and I was on price work. I was getting paid price per square metre and I was working like a lunatic, flat out, as you know, 18 years old, going like a madman, trying to get as much possibly done as I could. And at the time, I think I was hitting about 150 quid a day, you know, on price. Now, was I getting the best rates? I don't know. I was still young and wet behind the ears. So now I know that maybe some firms will give lads different rates. You know, they all work for the same firm, but some people are getting different. Anyway, who knows? I wasn't bothered. I was happy with what I was earning. But what was that? I was going flat out and I was earning a rate. And then when I started doing private work, because the recession came in 2008 and I sort of went to private work then, and I took this same mindset with me. The rate that I was used to earning on site, I took that to the domestic market. So I've gone from working on a building site now to people's living rooms. And let's just say I'm hitting 150 a day most days on site. Yeah, that's back in 2008. That's what I was sort of getting. I've gone now to people's houses, and I'm going like a madman, you know, because I've got this site mentality. How fast can I possibly go? And I'd look at a job and think, right, I can get that done, that done, that done, that done. I can blitz all this out in a day. So I'm happy with 150 because that's what I was earning on site, you know. And it was just by a stroke of luck that I ended up working for this fella, because picture this, I'm probably at this point plastering the downstairs of someone's house, you know, living room, dining room, kitchen and hallway in like 2 days because I'm a lunatic. I'm 18 going like a madman. And they're getting it for like 300 quid. Okay, it's crazy to think for me now, but this was the mindset I had. So I'm wiping out the downstairs of somebody's house for them for the bargain price of 300 squid. Oh, so I've been there. I've done these stupid things myself when I was younger, and it was by a stroke of luck that I worked for this fella. And whether he looked on me with sympathy, but he sort of took me aside and gave me a little bit of mentorship, a little bit of kind advice, and I'm so grateful for it. He had a bit of knowledge about the building game. He'd been involved in the trades himself, and he had worked his way up. Anyway, the guy, let me just tell you what happened. I've given the price, I've got the job, and I'm doing the job. And whilst I'm halfway through the job, he takes me aside. He said, Kurt, listen, you're too cheap. Can you imagine a customer saying that to you? This is before he's paid me as well. He tells me, you're too cheap, mate. I'm doing nice quality work. And he said, look, let me just show you something. And he showed me messages, other quotes that he had had. And I was literally half the price of other plasterers. Yeah, 2 or 3 other quotes. And I was literally half the price. And he said, I'm not showing you this to make you feel bad. I'm showing you this to help you, to educate you that, you know, you put your prices up considerably and you'd be okay. You're sort of selling yourself short. And he gave me quite a few. That wasn't the only thing he sort of taught me. He gave me quite a few words of wisdom. How to look at jobs, how to, you know, how I should be viewing things rather than looking at how much I can possibly do for that amount of money. You know, he gave me a different way of looking at work, which I'm ultimately quite grateful for, because he got me when I was young, so I didn't waste too much time working like a slave for, you know, not much money. Now, this sounds a bit cheesy, this. So, I don't want to tell you, but it's part of the story, so I've got to tell you. Because ultimately, at the same time, I'm a bookworm, by the way. For those that you don't know, I love reading books. I've got hundreds of them, much to my missus's disapproval, because she hates it. But I've got like a little library of books. Anyway, I bought a book at the time, back then, 18 years old. And I bought this book, cheesy, How to Get Rich. Or was it How to Get Rich? It was something like that, Become Rich or something. Anyway, it was written by Paul McKenna. Now, for you young'uns that might not know about him, Paul McKenna used to be on TV, and he used to hypnotise people, and I used to love watching him as a kid anyway. So I've seen this book in, it was in Asda, or was it How to Get Rich? And there was quite a few interesting things, but one of the things that he banged on about in this book was doubling what you charge. If you do a service for someone, it's in your head, the limit you put on how much you can earn. That's what you believe you can earn, not what somebody else believes, which was just interesting at the time. And he said, double what you're charging. You'd be surprised at the outcome. You think people are saying no, but you'd be surprised. Double what you're charging. So, at the time, I didn't double it. I didn't have enough bottle to double it, because I didn't want to lose the work. You know, at the time I'm 18 and I've moved in with my missus, and I'm sort of like, you know, it's down to me to provide here. I've got to be the man of the house. I've got to prove to me dad that I can survive by myself. So I don't want to start losing work. But I did put my prices up considerably because of this cheesy book and what I'd been told by this other fella. And wow, it worked. It worked. So all of a sudden I just had a massive pay increase, which I was quite happy about. Now, there's a reason I'm telling you all this, and I'm going to get to it in a minute. But I'm just giving you a bit of background info on me and how things panned out for me. So then I've gone through life. Years have gone by, and I'm earning okay money. You know, I can't complain about it. Doing quite well. And then I come across this guy on social media. And this is where, like, my little self-development sort of stage come across this guy on social media, Sean Whalen. And it turns out I was quite inspired by some of the stuff he was saying. I checked him out, you know, looked at him on YouTube, looked at him in different places, and I found out he had a coaching group, and it was like, he's in America, and it was like $270 a month to be in this coaching group. And he's like a life coach. So I signed up for this group, you know, bit of disposable income, so I signed up. Loved it, by the way. Not in it now, but he's still going. It's got the Lion's Den, so if any of you guys want to go and pay £300 a month, you can go and join it. But I learned quite a few things from him about being, you know, raw, being yourself, people buying from people, you know, people basically buy from other people that they feel a connection with. And one of the things that he said to me that really stuck out which made me feel better about joining his coaching group for £300 a month, actually, was if you're here and you want to get over here and you don't know how to get there, you need a map. If somebody's already there, then instead of you trying to find your way blindly, just ask the person that's already there. Listen, show me how to do what you have done and I will pay you. And that's ultimately when you hire a coach, that's what you're asking to do. You know, this Sean Whalen, he's very successful. He's got businesses. He's a high roller, and ultimately I was paying him. Show me how to do what you're doing, and I learned quite a few things from him. But this mindset that I got then about just going straight to somebody else. If I want to do something, going straight to that person and learning how to do it. So this got me sort of fired up a little bit. And then I've come across a fella called Ty Lopez. This is all, by the way, not condensed. This is all over the space of a couple of years. Come across this other fella called Ty Lopez. And turns out he's fantastic at social media and social media marketing and a few different things. So I signed up to his group, his coaching group, and I learned all sorts of different things from Ty Lopez. Loads of stuff with dropshipping, all sorts of stuff. But mainly, I was gleaning bits of information that I could apply to my plastering business from these different people. I'm taking the knowledge and applying it to myself, you know. So I've been in Sean's group, I've been in Ty Lopez's group. Salesmanship, you know, sales, how to close deals and stuff. I joined Cardone University, which, if anyone doesn't know, Grant Cardone teaches salesmen. That's what he does. He's a salesman that teaches salesmen. Great fella, quite motivational as well. But anyway, that cost me about £1,000 to join his university. It's like a lifetime subscription for £1,000 a year or something like that. So I signed up for that. Now, with all these different groups that I joined, you know, I didn't stay in all of them, but it cost me a lot of money in total. But I got all this information and applied it all to my plastering business. Give us a minute. There's a cat scratching at my door. Oi! What are you doing? Straight in. It's down here. So I applied it all to my plastering business. Now, here's the bit that not many people know about me, which I'm going to let you in a little secret. You probably already know that when I was first left school and I was plastering on site. I was doing day release. I was going to college to train to be an electrician. Okay, I didn't want to work with my dad forever, so I thought I didn't like plastering, but I just didn't like working with my dad. Not because he's bad. It's just who wants to work with the dad, you know? No, you get sort of like you live in the same house, working together, and all. It gets a bit much, doesn't it? So I wanted to be an electrician, so I went to college and trained to be a spark. I did my City and Guilds 236 Part 1 and 2 as an electrician. Okay, so sort of joined the dark side, didn't I, the electricians. But then I never continued with that. I just got the knowledge and didn't do anything with it. Just carried on plastering. Years down the line, now I'm talking like, 10 years later, I've been plastering. I'm sort of sick of it, Sorry, phone's going. So then I decided I'm going to start fitting bathrooms, just for a change. Don't ask me why. I could do a bit of tiling, so I just got into fitting bathrooms. Now, this is, not many people know that about me, that I've just flipped and turned into a bathroom fitter. But what I managed to do was, literally overnight, set myself up as a bathroom fitter. Now, what was interesting, all the things that I had learned from these coaching groups, I was able to instantly apply it and generate loads of work as a bathroom fitter, which was a bit crazy, but it worked anyway. And then over time, I ended up teaming up with another bathroom fitter. I had a sort of a plumber used to come in and do the pipe work, and I'd do all the tiling, the plastering, the painting, the electrics, the ceiling, putting the fitting the shower screens. I would do all that sort of stuff and just get him to connect the plumbing up until I actually learned how to do all that. And then I was just doing everything. And I teamed up with another guy, and we had tons and tons of work. Now, ultimately, what happened with the bathroom fitting, and there's always something extra you can do. You know, it's like 4 o'clock and you think, well, yeah, do us a favour, mate. Get out of here. Go on. Sorry about him. There's always something extra you can do. So, you know, you finish sort of, finish tiling, you go, oh, well, if we get it grouted tonight, we can get the suite fitted tomorrow. So, ultimately, what happened was I was always working until about 7, 8 o'clock. It wasn't really conducive for a happy family life when you're just working flat out. Yeah, loads of money, but it was a bit, you know, we could always just keep doing more stuff. So I got sick of working late. So then I went back to plastering. Now, a year or so later, a friend of mine reached out to me. I've done some work for him. And he was sick of his job. And he come at me, he said, Kirk, can I get my words out. Can I come and work with you? You know, I want to leave my job. I'm sick of working here. He was a manager in Morrison's. But I was set up at the time. I didn't want anyone else. I was quite content doing my own thing. You know, I didn't really want another person that I had to sort of pay and who couldn't do anything. So, but I wanted to help him. So I asked him what he liked doing. It turns out he liked, you know, gardening and maintenance and stuff. He enjoyed that. He liked being outside. He liked physical work. So what I did was literally over the course of a weekend, set up a gardening business, applied the things that I had learned from these coaching groups, and within about a week, I had him a full-time gardening round. Literally, and we sort of did it between ourselves because I'm always, you know, at the time, I'm always trying to, from what I've learned from these groups, I'm always trying to get my fingers in other pies, like, rather than just staying in my own lane, plastering, which is what I do now, I just stay in my own lane. But at the time, you know, I'm reaching out trying to find these different things, and it's great because now these experiences are coming back to help me because I can relate them to you and get my point across. But ultimately, I've managed to use these principles to pop a business up and flood it with work. We were inundated. We got more gardening work that we could do. And I'm helping him do these jobs, sort of, he's doing the work in the day, and I'm going around of an evening collecting the money and different bits and bobs and organising things. And then ultimately I passed the whole thing over to him, and I think he still runs it now. It's a long time ago. I haven't seen Sean for years and years. I'm assuming he's still running that gardening business. But the reason I'm telling you this is because things that I've learned, the principles that I've learned, how to generate work coming in, that no one sort of taught me when I was an apprentice, but I've joined coaching groups and learned. They can be applied. Now, I apply them to my plastering business, so I know that this system works. I've basically created a system that generates work. And I know it works because I did it for bathrooms, and I've done it for gardening, and I've showed a few other people a few things when they've said to me they haven't got much work on, other plasterers, do this and do this, and it's worked for them. So I'll be quite happy now to confidently say, if you literally picked me up, Kirk Johnson, took me away from Ellesmere Port and just dropped me in a different county, dropped me in, I don't know, Middlesbrough or something, I'm quite confident that within a couple of days, I would be generating work in an area where no one knows me. I would almost instantly, I know how to just create work so that I can get busy and start earning some decent money. Now, along with that, along with the knowledge that I've got of how to generate work and how to make the phone start ringing, I also know a few techniques on how to increase your value, salesmanship techniques, how to handle objections. For instance, when we're talking about increasing value, what I mean by that is how to make you as a person that valuable that a customer doesn't really care what the price is. They want you. The value is higher than the price. Now, it doesn't matter if your price is more than anybody else's. Your value is that high that they still choose you. Does that make sense? You want it where ultimately you could be the most expensive and the customer isn't interested. As long as they can afford you, they want you. Salesmanship techniques, how to, all these different things I've sort of learned. And I'm aware that a lot of people don't get taught this sort of stuff. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because I've created a little coaching group to help people, to show them the things that I've learned. Cost me a lot of money over the years to learn these things. But I want to help a few guys. Literally, I say it's like pressing buttons and pulling levers. I want to show you the system where you do certain things, pressing a few buttons and pulling a few levers, and work starts coming in. And then when the work's coming in, I've got a few things I want to show you on how to put yourself across the best way, how to put your best foot forward, where the customers feel a connection with you and want you to do the job. Now, there's quite a bit to it. There's a few different things, but ultimately, I've created a system, and the system covers social media, Google, networking, making new contacts, how to close deals, how to handle objections, all those sorts of things. Now, I've already got the coaching group up and running, and what I've found is as well, another little thing that I've added into it is ultimately, I know myself, if my mind isn't right, or if my body's not right, if I'm not, in good health, or if I've got loads of trouble going on with the missus or something like that, if all the other parts of my life aren't right, then my business won't be right. So I've also included in the group something I learned from Sean Whalen, which is Core 4, which is a technique that you use to keep all parts of your life on track. Because us men, we have like laser focus, and we can focus on one thing. People always say to me, trying to find the balance, trying to find a happy family life and a happy work family balance, and you can never seem to get it right. Well, Core 4 helps this, getting your physical body in good condition, keeping yourself sort of quite healthy, which I sort of let slip when the baby comes. Don't hold that against me. I'm back on the wagon again now. But keeping your body in good nick, keeping your relationships right, how to sort of make sure that you're giving enough time to your missus and your kids and your family side of life, how to keep your mind squared off, so that if you're struggling with anxiety or you're feeling overwhelmed, how to keep all that in check, and work. So that's another thing that I've incorporated into this coaching group. So on top of all that, I have live calls once a week where we spend about an hour on a live coaching call with the group. If you join the group, you basically have permanent access to me. So if you've got any questions, need any help or any advice of anything, as well as learning the whole system and having live calls, you get, permanent access to me and a great network of other fellas that we're all doing the same thing, There's no, you see sometimes lads asking for help on social media sites, asking a bit of help with pricing, and they get loads of idiots taking the mick, giving them stupid answers, or sometimes what can happen is you get sad to say, it's like the blind leading the blind, so they're getting advice from people that don't really know the best things themselves. Now, I'm not trying to say I'm a genius, do you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to sell you any sort of false hope. What was told to me was, and which I'm going to reiterate, if you want to know how to get to point B, ask the person that's already there. Now, I'm not a millionaire, so I'm not going to promise you that you're going to become a millionaire by joining my group. But what I can promise you is, I can show you how to get the phone ringing non-stop, to flood yourself with work. I can show you how to earn. Let's not talk money on the internet right here. But trust me, I can show you how to earn a decent wage where you won't really probably have to worry much about money. You'll be earning enough. You want to be at the point where you wake up in the morning and you're looking forward to going to work. That's where you need to be at. When you wake up and you're like, I can't wait to get to work because the money's great. I'm looking forward to doing this job and getting paid. That's ultimately where I want you to be at. Now, all that being said, a word of warning for you though. What I want you to keep in mind is everything that you've done up to now has got you to where you are now. So if you want to get to somewhere different, something's got to change, okay? Doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting a different outcome, That's the definition of insanity, isn't it? So I don't want you to sign up and join my coaching group and just sit on the sidelines and consume content. You've literally got to do something, you know. You don't have to apply everything. Do what you feel like, but just do something. Don't just join up and waste your money and waste your time and waste my time, because you won't benefit from it. So there's certain things, and I know who's going to do well in the group straight off the bat, because there's something I ask everyone to do that puts you right out of your comfort zone the minute you join the group. And the ones that jump on it seem to do really well, and the ones that don't, well, we don't see much success off them in the group. Whereas the guys that jump straight out of the comfort zone and do this one thing straight off the bat, you seem to see them in the group posting the success all the time. You know, they've earned this much and they've done this, or they've just secured another job, and things are going great for them. So, all that being said, I paid thousands to get taught what I'm going to impart to you. I've sort of took it, regurgitated it, and applied it to plastering, but you could apply it to any sort of trade, really. But pricing, how much would it be worth to join my coaching group? Well, I thought to myself, I want to try and make it so that it costs nothing, so ultimately it pays for itself. So at present, my pricing is, if you want to join my coaching group, it's less than £1 a day. Now, most fellas spend £20–30 a day on booze, cigarettes and food. So £1, less than £1, I think is very fair. And ultimately, once you've been in the group for a week, within the first week, it should pay for itself. You should be able to earn that much extra money that 30 quid's just gone for the whole month. You know, it should pay for itself. But that's only if you apply what I'm telling you in there. You can leave whenever you want. If you wanted to join the group, take a few bits, learn what you want, and off you go. No hard feelings. You're free to go. You don't even have to speak to me. You can just cancel your own subscription, and away you go. But guys, if that sounds like something you're interested in, I'm not trying to sell it to you. I was gonna show you all screenshots of different success stories that I've had in the group, and different messages that I get sent about how happy they are, how much extra money they're earning, and all the rest of it. I was going to show you all. I'm not going to try and sell it to you. I'm just letting you know, if you think it'd be of benefit to you, if you would like more work, if you'd like to earn more money, then click on the link in the description and sign yourself up. I'll see you in there.